Unlocking English. Mastering advice with modal verbs in passive voice. Hello, English learners. Welcome to another exciting video in our series. Today, we're going to dive deeper into the world of English modal verbs, specifically focusing on how to use modal verbs in the passive voice to express advice. This is a key skill in English, and once you master it, you will be able to communicate your suggestions and recommendations more effectively and naturally. To begin with, let's quickly recap what modal verbs and passive voice are. Modal verbs are helper verbs that express necessity, possibility, permission, or ability. Some common modal verbs are can, could, may, might, shall, should, will, would, and must. The passive voice, on the other hand, is a way of structuring sentences where the object of an action becomes the subject of the sentence. For example, the cake was eaten by John is a passive sentence, where the cake, the object of the eating, becomes the subject of the sentence. When we want to use modal verbs in the passive voice to give advice, we typically use the structure modal verb plus be plus past participle. For example, the sentence, "You should wear a seatbelt," active voice, can be made passive as, "A seatbelt should be worn." Now, let's dive into using modal verbs in the passive voice for giving advice. Here are some examples. 1. The dog must be taken for a walk daily. In other words, I advise that someone takes the dog for a walk daily. 2. The dishes should be washed right after the meal. I recommend that someone washes the dishes right after the meal. 3. Sunscreen must be applied when going out in the sun. It's advised to apply sunscreen when going out in the sun. Remember, using passive voice in advice allows you to be less direct, focusing on the action rather than the person. This can make your advice sound more polite or general. Now, let's get some practice. Try to convert these active sentences into passive sentences using modal verbs. 1. You should finish your homework before playing video games. 2. You must recycle your waste. 3. You could donate your old clothes to a charity. Hint: remember to use the structure modal verb plus be plus past participle. That's it for today, folks. I hope you found this video useful in understanding how to use modal verbs in the passive voice to give advice. Remember, practice is key to mastering this concept. So, keep practicing, and you'll find your English communication skills improving day by day. See you in the next video.